Hey everybody, we're back. It's been a little while, and things have changed a whole lot since the last video. Still got to get out here, still got to feed, still got to water, and that's okay because it's good. I get out of myself, and it gives me a reason to get out the house for a while. I don't have a whole lot of time on my phone. It looks like I said I had 15% power. I'm gonna do what I can for a little bit. They're calling for Arctic blast starting this weekend. It's supposed to get down to like 8 degrees below, windshield or some crap like that, 20 degrees below. So I'm really trying to do is get out here and make sure everybody's all right. But main thing is, I know a lot of guys that get out here, and they get out here sometimes feeding and watering twice a day and everything else, taking care of the birds, spend a lot of time with them. Believe me, I wish I could. Difference is, a lot of people show their birds, and I really don't. My birds right here that I have are birds that I plan on breeding. I've got a couple lined up, some really good hatch coming from a buddy of mine named Logan. Now I'm looking forward to that, and maybe some grays, a good family of grays. And I'm going to pretty much stick with this family right here, a good family of hatch and a good family of grays. And that's what I'm going to base everything off of. I've been talking to the wife already about starting to get the materials for building the yard down here, which will consist of 1 or 2 rolls of the really woven wire fence, probably gonna be 5 foot. I probably wind up throwing some wire across of it because there's some bears and crap going on right here. And the day I went to the hospital, I had a coyote run across my front yard. And that's the reason I got this 6 foot high fence around me with the 10 foot dog panels. Yeah, that's a reason. But we've already got it all planned out, and this is the plan. We're gonna build that yard. We're gonna set up a really good breeding system, and hopefully soon I'll be able to get this building together because that's where I'm gonna stuff. I'm already making plans to get a Great Pyrenees. Yep, I'm gonna get a Great Pyrenees. I'm gonna build a really nice house to stay in when he needs to, because we all know they don't give a crap about a house. Somewhere to keep him dry, and if he wants to go in there, he can go in there. And he's gonna be my guard dog. I mean, granted, we raise German Shepherds, we breed German Shepherds, and if you're interested in a German Shepherd, we got some really good ones coming. They'll be coming here probably next month, matter of fact. Got some solid black working line dogs and some beautiful German line, long hair show line dogs, show dogs. The long hairs. The ones that look like they got that Carolina lean going on. Yeah, that. So we got a lot of things planned for around here. I will say I had a loss on the yard. I guess it happens to all of us, and I don't really know why, because I'm getting my hands on him, he felt just fine. I don't know. But that Gilliam roundhead rooster that I had that I wasn't too... Yeah, I don't know. He didn't make it. But the hen's gorgeous. She's a pretty thing. But she's a real pretty thing. But everybody else seems to be okay. Y'all seem to be doing all right. Which is good. But I did have a guy ask me a question the other day. It's kind of funny because, like, okay, none of my game roosters are game, but you got these guys. Got this pair that I have here and this pair that I have here. Might be a bad example, but I had another pair that I moved over. He was making a comment about how can your roosters be right there next to each other and not be fighting through the wire. And I'm probably questioning the game on my yard. I'm like, those are bantams, bud. Those are bantams. I wouldn't expect them to be fighting too long or too hard through a wire fence, would you? No. You put them together, 5 minutes later, they'd be friends anyway. White Haggle's doing good. My blues are doing really good. I might Kelso hen. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. I hate crossing birds. Back in the day, I would cross some, but I would show them at the same time. And this is the deal I have. I kind of have a buddy lives in North Carolina. And a lot of times when I have cross stags, nowadays, when I start having cross stags, they'll be going there. They get to run free range all over his freaking yard. He's got, 80 acres or so. And he's got a lot of hunting dogs, and he's got Pyrenees running around it too. And the hunting dogs I'm talking about are coon dogs, deer dogs. There's no raccoons around there to worry about. There's not much to worry about with the Great Pyrenees and everything else he's got going on. And we've done this before. Years ago, when I used to raise gamefowl, me and him were tight knit with a lot of things we did. Which, hey, let's get into a story real quick. Which back in the day, my buddy was big time into breeding brass backs and Albany's crosses. And let me tell you, man, if whew, I had to come back out, take the phone inside and charge it for a little while. It actually died. Yeah, said I had low battery, 15%. Yeah, it ran out. Sorry about me clearing my throat all the time. Really dry. There's a lot going on with my health right now, but it's all supposed to get 100% better, so we're going to go with it. My buddy had raised a bunch of brassback Albany's. This is something that he had been toying with for years. He'd been wearing them out. He was doing this before he taught me what I knew when it comes to birds. He was the first one to really help me when it come to getting some gamefowl going, and a buddy of his really got me going. But this is one of the days back in the day when we were showing his birds, and he had a falling out with another boy named One-Eyed Randy. And One-Eyed Randy had a bunch of roosters. He had a bunch, yard full. This single guy lived on a small farm, and that's what he did. That's what he did. Calls me up, old Randy calls me up one day and says, hey man, you want to roll some birds and such? And I'm like, heck yeah, man. Let me see what I can do. And I called up my boy and I said, hey man, old One-Eyed Randy down here wants to rumble. Said, what do you think about me taking these brassback Albany brothers with me and see what we got? He says, you know it. I knew they were top notch. They were ready, boy, all the time. Packed them up, took them cross town, so to speak, and I wore that boy out 6 straight with these boys, with these birds. Brought him back home. Before on the way home, I get this phone call. It's my buddy Skinny. I ain't even told him. I didn't even tell anybody about this yet, I guess. Even though him and Randy were having a falling out, maybe they contact each other. I don't know. But old boy calls me and says, hey man, I heard you just whipped Randy 6 straight. I said, hell, he was all giggling. You ever knew the boy, he was getting into it, you know what I mean? And I was too. I was good at what I was doing. I put 100% into it. I was single. Me and my old lady split up. I even got even more into it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I pretty much had it going on at the time when it comes to the birds. So what we did was, I bring the birds back home. I bring them back home. Had them back on their tie cords. And I actually had one that I could walk up to him and talk to him. And that sucker would flap on a tie cord and land on my shoulder and just talk. I mean, these birds are straight. Get your hands on them. I made sure all my birds were handable. You didn't have to worry about them. You can set them down. They might not always want to stand there, but they're not going to hurt you. They're not going to be they're not man scared, and they're not going to hurt you. That's a big deal. They were really good birds. Case in point, one day, I head off to the store because I ain't been there for a while. Needed some drinks. And it was only about a mile down the road. And when I came back up, I pulled up in the driveway beside the house, and I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dead roosters on tie cords. So I'm like, oh hell. And at the same time, all of a sudden, here come this fucking hen running up, one of my hatch hens, because hatch was my thing. One of these hatch hens come running up with a bunch of biddies, and she was scattering. And I yelled at the dog. It was a pit bull chaser. I said, dog, whatever. Whoa. And he stopped. And I said, come here, boy. Come here. Because, boy, I wanted to get my hands on him. Dog kind of stood there for a minute, started growling at me, and then busted back into the woods chasing my hen. I never seen that hen or them biddies ever again. So I'm standing there. I went in the house. Well, after he growled at me and shit, I said, all right, I got something for you. I went in the house. I grabbed a 12 gauge, and like I said, when I came out, they done busted up back up through the woods and everything. I couldn't do nothing about it. All of a sudden, down here to the bottom, where I had my hatch brood, I'm hearing this commotion. I look down there, and here's this other pit bull, a damn brindle pit, beautiful brindle pit. He done busted into my brood pen. He was gnawing on my 2-3 time winning hatch rooster that I had. I'd raised from a baby, about 3 years old. He was over about 3 hens. He's in there just tearing them to shreds. So I'm throwing a hand that shit. Pow! You know what happened. I took that dog out. I grabbed the dog by the leg and I drug him up to the back of the house. I went in the house and I called animal control and I said, look, man, So I just come home and I had these 2 pit bulls in my yard just tearing my birds apart. And I said, one of them didn't make it. He said, is it deceased? I said, yeah, he's deceased. He said, do I need to come get it? I said, you need to come get it. By the time he came, out there, he had told me also there was a lady making a phone call looking for a brindle pit bull. And happened to be in the park next to the house. And they decided to let him run loose, get some exercise. There was 2 ponds over there. And it was a good section of woods before my house. They had no business coming through the woods, but they wound up at my house. And he says, I'm going to contact this lady. I said, well, here's my information. Tell her I want some kind of retribution for this because I just lost some good birds, and they were valuable to me. And I'm not happy. Well, he said I had all rights in the world to take care of this dog like I did and all, and that was great. I don't feel right about killing animals, but when it comes to that. So, you know, a couple days passed by, and I came home from work one day, and my roommate, her name was Terry also. Terry, I want you to hear this recording on the voicemail. And I went in the living room, we turned it on, and there was this lady crying, and she was like, I'm so sorry about your birds. I just want you to know that I just lost my best friend, and whatever you want me to pay you for your birds, you know, if you'll just call me back and let me know, and we'll get it straight. Like I said, it's like, you know, I understand that now. And even then I was starting to understand that the concept of a dog and how, you know, my dogs could do a whole lot of shit. And far from, if they didn't kill anybody or hurt anybody, you know, what am I going to tell you? You know what I mean? Sorry about your birds. I'm sorry about your whatever. I'm going to try to protect my dog because I love that dog. And you could hear it in her voice. So Terry looks at me. She says, well, Terry, what do you think? What do you want to do about it? I said, I'm going to leave it be. I said, it's fair. We're even now. You know what I mean? Even though I done pretty much lost my hatches. They're gone now. I lost my rooster, my hens, my breeding, things I raised up. Because one season I raised up 17 hatch stags. And I'm going to tell you, I walked the state of North Carolina. I kicked butt everywhere I went. I ain't gonna lie. They were McLean Bates Cross hatches. They're all, you know what I mean? All the hens look the same. All the roosters look the same. And the offspring were dynamite. And that's a whole nother story for another day where I got this. But I think I might have said it before where a buddy of mine lent me his brood fowl. Well, part of his brood fowl was his hatch family. And that's the same family I based mine off of. So yeah, I cleaned up the mess and we moved on. Don't remember how it went from there, but it wasn't long after that I just didn't have birds anymore. I think that was the part that after the split up that I had and lost pretty much the little land that I was living on because I couldn't do it by myself, and all the birds I had to get rid of doing that I had, like, we lived in a house for 5 years. So I mean, I had a lot of stuff. I started like my first or second year in that house, and I had some crosses, but I'm gonna tell you, the crosses I had were white claret, blue mug crosses, and they were dynamite. And I got stories about that. And then there was my hatches. Like I said, I raised 17 hatch stags. They were pretty much free range their whole life until they got big where they started fighting. I had to line them up, and I had to build 4 foot by 4 foot cages, just rows of them. Plus I had other stuff, and I was getting birds other places. I had I had birds I could take anywhere that I'd gotten from other places and everything. I had a lot of stuff going on. Crosses I can't even remember. I had ASOL crosses over top of some brass backs, and I'm telling you, they were dynamite too. They were just, And just the other things we had going on at the time. But yeah, that's what happened to them. And also, I think I'm going to try to put a picture of a straight spangled Albany that I had for a while there. It was funny because I wound up selling that bird back in over 20 years ago. I sold him off my yard. The guy just wanted him so beautiful, just put it in a pen and just look at him. Sold him for $100. Turn around, call me a few weeks later, say, I can't take her anymore here. I'll just let you back. I don't need the money back. You're good. Right back. Hell yeah. And that was one of the Spangles. And it was a lot of fun. And I'm really going to try to get back into this again because I'm not going to let this get me down. And I know you guys work really hard at this. So you got to understand this is just a setback, but it's not an end to anything. I've got a boy in West Virginia, pigeon buddy of mine. His best buddy is a cocker. And he sent me his number. He said, hey man, call me. We'll see what we got going on. There we go. Right. I'm going to do that. I've just been meaning not to call too many people lately. So if I missed your phone call or I hadn't called you, it's either I don't have your number or know who the heck you are, or I'm just trying not to talk a whole lot. But today I feel pretty good. I'm outside. It's like 50 degrees doing this video because y'all need something to do sitting in the house when it's nice and cold. And I want to really appreciate all the help, all the watching, and all the well wishes I've gotten through this. It means a lot to me because y'all don't know me for Adam, you know. We're all in this together, man. Y'all have a great day.